Good morning, App Properties. I hope you had a safe weekend with your family and your loved ones. It's Monday, March 30th, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin. I'm Amy Corr, and I'm joined this morning by Kevin Wah Eck, who's live out of our Goose Island office. Good morning, Kevin.
Hey, good morning, Amy. Good to see you. I hope everyone had a good weekend. We're starting week 3 here, and so we've got a great topic for you today. Over the last couple of weeks, we've discussed, information. We've discussed data, we've discussed where to find it, we've discussed how to communicate with current business, meaning your current buyers and sellers. And today what we're going to talk about, and starting week 3, is it's really time to focus on what we're going to do moving forward from an action plan in terms of how we're going to come out of this stronger. And so we've brought a special guest on today to help us understand what brokers are doing, what's successful, what maybe we should look at stopping doing. And so I think we're going to get a really great perspective today, Amy.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I'm very excited to welcome Nikki Konsler. I've worked with Nikki for years. In fact, she and I worked together when we opened up the Wah Eck office and started together in 2010. She's now one of our coaching and transition managers and works day to day with our brokers on the growth and development of their business. So I'm really excited to have her here today to talk with us a bit about what our brokers are doing now and how you can be successful over these next few weeks. So welcome, Nikki.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So I wanted to jump right in and ask you, first off, how long have you been with App Properties? And can you share a bit more about your role and what our coaching and training team is doing right now to support our brokers?
Yeah, so this upcoming May is going to mark my 12 years here with App Properties. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything since I've been here, from front desk, office manager, and I do a lot of transition, and now I'm doing a lot of the coaching and business development. So with my team of Jimmy Shannon, Maria Malu, Karma Baker, we're all working with agents right now to help them keeping the consistency with their marketing. So we are doing a lot of one-on-one virtual meetings. There are a ton of training webinars that we're hosting just to keep people engaged with the tools and making sure that they're setting themselves up for kind of whenever we get out of this. So right now we're working with a lot of brokers one-on-one to kind of keep them engaged. If you are working with your managing broker or want to reach out to your managing broker to connect with one of us, feel free to talk to your managing broker. They can connect you with us and we can kind of look at your business and see how we can help you grow later or now.
That's great. Thanks, Nikki. And I know we've known each other for a long time too. We started at App Properties roughly around the same time, working out of the Greenview office. So it's really good to have you on. Let's getting right into it. What do you think is the biggest need brokers have right now? As you're working with them, whether it's in groups, one-on-one, you and the team, what are you seeing?
So one of the things right now that we feel the biggest need for, or that brokers need, is social media presence. So leading up to this, a lot of brokers had social media as the back end. They were out in the field, they were meeting clients, they were on showings. So social media to some people just didn't come naturally, or they just didn't have the time to sit down and work on it. So having a social media presence right now is going to become more valuable than ever. So using Facebook, using Instagram, creating YouTube channels for your listing videos or client walkthrough videos, because that's going to help you, especially in the YouTube instance, allow buyers to actually walk through the home virtually instead of actually physically walking through the home. So agents need to be creative. And there are tools and resources that they can use to stay in front of their clients. We're all on these social media platforms. So it's kind of a way that agents can see what's happening. But then also making sure that you're using tools within App Properties. So the agent icon, it's a great way where you can post a graphic on your social media without creating anything on your own. And also the Content Hub. So on the platform, under the marketing section, there's the Content Hub where you can easily share information or blog posts onto Facebook and LinkedIn. So there's a variety of resources for you at your fingertips that you can use to spend time on, growing your social media presence now more than ever.
That's great. And I know social media is so important right now, as we're all kind of working virtually and trying to get out in front of our clients. But I wanted to ask you, from what you've seen brokers doing, what is the number one thing we should all be doing right now as a broker in kind of COVID-19 as we're, sitting home virtually?
The number one thing that I feel every broker needs to be doing is reaching out to their clients. Their clients need to feel that they value that relationship that they have with them. And especially during a time right now, even just calling the client to say hello is going to go a long way. Checking in with them, just something as simple as that is really going to help that agent become very valuable to that client.
Yep. And do you have some specifics? I know you've been working with clients or with brokers over the last 2 weeks, but do you have some specific things that you've seen, brokers doing that has created some of that traction with the outreach that they're doing to their sphere?
Yeah. So a couple of things I can speak to on that. So I have brokers going into their CRMs and kind of just calling their A and B clients. And again, checking in with them, letting them know if they need anything, that they are here for them. And the feedback I get from that is that a lot of the clients are just so happy that somebody called to check in with them. We all check in with our loved ones and, think of your clients as part of your relationship, your sphere. So just calling them to say hello is going to go a long way for them. The other couple things that I've seen our agents do, one is a lot of people sent out the cap gift. That was last week, the popcorn, I believe. A lot of people went and signed their clients up for that as another way just to say, I'm thinking of you. Here's a little something for you and your family. The other thing is postcards. So a lot of people that have been doing direct mail, either the monthly mailer program, EDDM of their own, I'm continuing to tell agents that they need to continue that marketing piece because people are at home now, whether they're working from home or, they've been home. They're going to be getting the mail now. The mail is still coming through. And I feel that now that people are going to pay attention to that, where in our everyday life, when it's come and go, we're busy. Sometimes people don't really pay attention to what's coming through. So they may look at it and toss it. But now more than ever, if you've been doing postcard mailers, you need to stay consistent with that marketing piece because you still need to be marketing yourself even during a time like this. And then the other thing too, outside of just connecting with everyone in your CRM is to making sure that you as agents are connecting with your sellers. You need to make sure that they know that you are doing things or thinking outside of the box to help get their property sold or at least get more engagement in that home, whether it's a client walkthrough video, but making sure that they know that you're setting them up for success later down the road if it's not right now. But we need to make sure that we're checking in with our sellers too so they feel good about this.
That's really great. Thanks, Nikki. It's funny. I was talking with an agent over the weekend who said, they actually told me they were tired of hearing people say, reach out to your database and make calls and talk with people. And I asked them the question, I said, well, who have you been talking with? Have you made any calls? And they said, no. And so I think it's really interesting. I think I would agree with you, and I think Amy would as well, is that client outreach, anything we do right now to just have a personal conversation with people is going to help solidify our relationship for the future. So we'll continue talking about that because it is hugely impactful and really important. So that's sort of the basics. Nikki, are there any other creative things that you've seen agents doing? You've talked through direct mail, you've talked through Agent Icon, social media to an extent, and then Content Hub, along with some others. But what else have you seen that agents are doing that's creative?
Yeah, so before we kind of had to stay at home in place, there was a team that I noticed on Instagram that created client videos. And I thought it was such a cool thing to do that I watched all of them, but I felt like it was a way for me to actually see what that property was like without stepping foot into that. So I feel now more than ever, agents do need to step outside their comfort zone and think outside the box. So creating these virtual open houses is amazing because people do have more time at home now. People are still going under contract. I spoke to an agent on Friday who said they had a property on the market for 251 days and it finally just went under contract. So people are still having success. Things are still closing. So while the momentum is still there, I feel like agents need to stay on top of that. And one of the things I do suggest too is utilizing the MLS in going through reverse prospecting and seeing all of the clients that have marked the interest or maybe, and having the brokers reach out to that agent and ask if their client wants to virtually walk through the home. But I think we need to stay in front and make sure our clients feel supported by us, or the agents.
That's all great insight, Nikki. And I think the idea is that, brokers just need to stay the course and continue to just be working for their clients. There's some new tools and new things that they need to be doing, but it's continuing to have a plan of activity on a daily basis. And, to your point, Nikki, things are still moving. Homes are selling. There's buyers out there that want to buy and sellers that want to move their property. So you spent a lot of time talking about many of the things that agents are doing and some of the success that they're seeing. But I also wanted to talk with you about, what are you seeing brokers doing now that seems to be not as effective? Or is there something that they should, stop doing right now, considering that we are kind of in lockdown and we are in this new COVID-19 environment?
So let's start two parts to that question, and I'll answer that two different ways. So one is what brokers aren't doing that they should be doing, or what they're not doing that they should be doing is nothing. People that are doing nothing, they should be doing something. Whether it is something small, you still need to be setting yourself up for success later. So whether right now it seems daunting to start things up, I'm encouraging brokers to be marketing themselves and putting themselves out there. The second part of that is what people, should not be doing is talking about the past. And I referenced that, meaning a couple weeks ago when the mortgage rates dropped at an all-time, or at a low, even some below 3%, a lot of people were refinancing at that time, or, buyers were pulling the trigger faster because their mortgage was going to be a lot less on these properties. So that was relevant a couple weeks ago. It's not relevant right now to speak to clients or have a call to action to say now is the time to buy or sell, because COVID-19 is a sensitive topic right now. And we want to speak to what is relevant. And I feel that you become more valuable as an agent when you talk about what's happening right now. So I encourage agents to speak of, what are you doing? At Properties came out with what's at doing to protect everyone, with the showings, but what are you doing as agents to protect your clients? Are you telling your clients, hey, I'll go to the final walkthrough, I will FaceTime you, I got this. You stay home, you stay safe, stay healthy with your family. What are the things that you're doing to kind of protect them during this? So those are the things I recommend brokers don't do, is talk about the past necessarily, because it may be you sent something out that said, now's the time to buy or sell. It's not, so people might think of how you're phrasing that and not the right way you want them to see them in your eyes as an agent. So always talking about what's relevant just shows you're knowledgeable and you are a valuable asset to them.
Got it. Great. Question about the tools again. You've mentioned some of them, social media, et cetera. What are the tools that every broker should know how to use? And what do they do if we're not familiar with them? What are the tools that we should all be proficient with, and what are they used for?
All right, so let's talk about something through at. So CRM, obviously, first and foremost, we always talk about it, but it's a great way not only to store your contact information, but as you rank them and sort them, it also will help you track your outreach. So you can kind of see who you're talking to, who you've been engaged with, and who you're missing. Because again, I do feel that it's important that you're contacting every person in your CRM right now and just checking in. The other resource through At Properties is going to be the CMA tool. So I always recommend to people to be sending this to your past buyers. Now it's a great time as well because it's a digital, so you don't have to print anything, you don't have to send them anything in the physical mail. It's a link that you can send them, but it keeps them in the loop of what's going on in their neighborhood and in their market right now. So neighbors or people always want to know, what's my neighbor being sold for? What's going on in the market right now? Especially now, what's happening? And I just think it's a great way for agents to stay valuable and also know that they're in front and knowledgeable of what's happening. So that's a tool that I always feel like people should be doing and utilizing and making sure they're proficient in that. So those are the two on the platform that I always chat about. This isn't necessarily a tool, but we do mention this when it comes to, promoting listing videos on YouTube and things like that, but using Real Vision. So if you haven't had Real Vision, I would recommend using them now. It's $229 for the package. You get unlimited photos, you get, floor plans, but also that 3D tour walkthrough is going to be huge for agents right now, because we are trying, like I mentioned earlier, trying to find creative ways for people to get into the home, and Real Vision is one of them. You can't upload a Real Vision tour into YouTube, but you can share it on your social media platform on Facebook in your Real Vision account. So if that's something you're thinking about or we're hesitant about using right now, that is a great tool for agents to kind of, again, get buyers in that house when they're not actually physically going there. Other tools outside of that properties or that are available to everyone is going to be, the MLS. So using InfoSparks to pull data. I mentioned using reverse prospecting. Again, we have to kind of think of ways to get people engaged with us. And then Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, those platforms are going to be really important to people as well. You need to have a social presence now. So if you toggled about the idea or if you don't have one, also just start small. So if you are not, or you're just starting to use Facebook, maybe just start with posting engaging content and then later going back to Facebook Live and, Instagram stories. That's kind of an advanced level of social media. And you want to make sure when you are at home right now trying to think of ways to stay connected, you're doing something that makes sense to you. You don't want to do just to try something because everyone else is doing it or you saw someone do something in that way, because you're not going to have a success with it if you're trying to be somebody else. Be authentic to who you are and just start small, but do something. That's what I recommend to people in regards to the social media aspect of the tools.
And that's such great advice. I think it's so important because right now as people are home, everyone is trying to figure out what should I be doing. And so it's almost like gun shooting, or trying to do a little bit of everything. And then, you're not necessarily doing anything effectively. So I think it's so important. Kevin and I talked on Friday about doing real estate reviews. That's being able to use some of the MLS resources and have that be one specific thing. So I think, there's amazing resources that we've got available to the agents. And it's about, picking one or two things right now and mastering it and becoming really good at using these tools as a way to reach out to your clients and to your sphere. So question for you, Nikki, if agents out there who are new to these tools or not as familiar, how can they learn about the CMA or the CRM or some of these different tools right now because they can't have an in-person session or go to in-person classes? Where can they learn more about these tools right now?
So webinars are huge. So I am hosting a ton of webinars to keep people engaged because, again, like I said, I don't want people's momentum to fall off because we're all at home right now. So I want people to make sure that they're using these tools and they understand these tools. So there's webinars. If you can't make a webinar or you miss it, on the agent app in the training and coaching loop, there is a drop down and you can find all of the training videos on all of our resources within App Properties. So those are like the app tools you can find that information on, but then there's the MLS. So MRED has a lot of online videos to learn about, reverse prospecting or to learn about InfoSparks and how to pull that data. And then regards to social media, you can always go online and, type something in real quick to find out the information that you need. If you're looking to create a post or, how do I start a live video or something like that, just, quickly type it in and you'll kind of can watch a video probably on YouTube that somebody posted on how to do that. But you want to make sure that everyone here is doing a couple things. So don't let your business just stop. Because the more that you're setting up right now, those agents that are doing something right now are setting themselves up for success when we come out of this. Because they're still in front of their clients. And, that's something we talk about all the time is being top of mind. And not right now necessarily being top of mind in a business aspect, but more as like, my agent is so great because they connected with me during this hard time, for their family or whatever situation that they have. And that's truly what I think is very important about this company and our agents here and all of the staff and team that I work with is that we all work together. So I see a lot of agents doing Zoom meetings together and kind of talking about the market and stuff like that. It's just a way to keep people engaged and talk about what's going on and, sharing ideas with each other. We have a great community here, so use each other to kind of get those ideas.
And on that note, Nikki, if they do want to reach out to the team, you, Jimmy, Maria, Karma, how can they get connected with you guys?
So you guys, anyone listening, can just go to coaching support or email coachingsupport@properties.com, and we all get the email. So one of us will respond to you and kind of talk to you and kind of set something up. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you can always talk to your managing broker as well. When you're ready to take your business to that next level and just say, hey, I'm ready, or I want to meet with one of them. How do I go about this? Feel free to connect with your managing broker and they will connect with us as well. But the email is coachingsupport@properties.com.
That's great. Thank you, Nikki. And to your point, I loved what you just said, which is you have to do something, right? So we know there's in Ninja and every real estate book ever, you have to do something, right? So you don't have to do everything. To what we've talked about today, you don't have to use and learn every single one of these tools, but you do have to do something. So I want to highlight that there's two different types of brokers. There are players and there are victims. And this resonates through life. So it doesn't just apply to the real estate industry, but that's where we are right now. There are two types of brokers. There are players and there are victims. And the difference between the two is that victims, while we can't control what's happening outside, meaning the COVID-19, what happens in the market, we can control how we react to it. And what do victims do? Victims are paralyzed. They don't do anything. They sit back. They're afraid to reach out. They're afraid to continue spending money on the marketing that they've invested in the past. What do players do? They take advantage of this situation, meaning when there is a challenge, they rise and take advantage in exploring new opportunities and ramping up their marketing and ramping up their outreach. So let's be players instead of victims, because if we can relate and go in our time machine back to 2008, and for those of us that were around in the industry at the time, we know there were two types of brokers then. Well, the victims, they got full-time jobs. They weren't in real estate at the end of the downturn. The players, those are the ones that not only survived the downturn, those were the ones that actually grew their businesses during that time. So this is going to be a test of our ability to connect, to stay engaged, to continue investing in our business, and ultimately up the value that we provide to our clients, to our database, reinforcing the relationships we have and being able to start new ones. So the challenge is be a player. Right now, we don't know what's going to happen over the next 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks. What we do know is how we can react to it in reinforcing those relationships and being attractive. So when we come out of it, we're stronger, just like many of us were in 2012 and 2013. So I want to thank you, Nikki, Amy. This has been a great coffee. Hopefully all of you found great value here. And we'll see you again over the next 24 hours. We have some good information coming specifically about the act and the stimulus package that was passed. So we'll talk through that. And as always, if you have any questions, concerns, topic ideas, please send them to atcoaching@properties.com. Again, that's atcoaching@properties.com. So thanks to you both. I hope everyone has a great day.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Thanks, Nikki.
Thanks.